Hey guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. As you guys can see below, today is a story time, and this one is going to be an interesting one. We are about to get into some drama. So, let's get started. Oh my god, where do I even start with this? Coachella. I want to start this off with saying I have been going to Coachella every single year for about roughly 7 or 8 years. And Coachella has changed a lot in the past 2 years. About 2 years ago, they decided to let 35,000 people that they had never let in before to Coachella. And they did not expand their vendors, their venue, or anything. They let in 35,000 more people into the same venue that was required holding what it was before. Then, skip forward to this next year. This was the second year they again increased occupancy, and they now did expand Coachella majorly. The stages were so far apart. Some stages were gone and they were completely new stages, and they were made like 6 times bigger. It was crazy, and I didn't like it. Coachella used to be a space for me to just like get away once a year and really be in your own world. It used to be super cool. Everything was like super tight knit. It was still kind of packed, but it wasn't like end of the world. Things were close together. You could easily get from point A to B and find things. It was such a great experience. I loved Coachella. So last year, after they increased the occupancy, me and my best friend Patrick, that I go with every year, had decided that we were not going to come to Coachella again unless we went VIP. Because before that, VIP could get into, basically there would be general admission and then a gate, and then VIP, which was right in front of the stage. VIP artist wristbands were in front of the stage. This year, without our knowledge, they had taken that away, and the only VIP area were 2 beer gardens and basically your own entrance. And you paid $500 extra for that, and I was livid. So let's get into the story of
Fast forward this week at Coachella.
So at Coachella, I had bought my pass from this girl. Let's call her Mary. So Mary had sold me my pass. We had met in person. I had registered my bracelet in front of her face so that, it wasn't already registered. We were good to go. When I met her, she was nice, she was sweet, and I registered, no problem. She had told me that her husband, and her friend were going to go to Coachella, and that her friend could no longer make it. And to me, to be honest, there was a small red flag, because to me it would be kind of weird that basically you'd be a friend and you'd be third wheeling the whole time. So I was like, people are weird. They do stuff like that. So I was like, whatever. I hadn't really thought of anything because I had been buying third party for several years, and I had never, ever had a problem with it. And so I was like, okay, this is great. She was nice. So Patrick and I would leave every Thursday to Coachella and leave Coachella every Sunday night. This year we decided that we would leave on Thursday and that we would basically leave on Monday night instead, so we would have a little more time so that I could shoot more content. About a week before Coachella, my agency had called me and I had booked a commercial on the Friday of Coachella. And things in terms of like pay, the commercial paid a lot. So of course, I wasn't gonna miss the commercial, obviously, because that's great work and it's great pay, and it would compensate for me missing that day of Coachella. So I was like, okay, me and Patrick usually drive every year together, so I was like, you know what, I'll just drive up on Friday and whatever happens, happens. So I was so sad because usually set days, if you know anything about modeling or acting, usually set days will start at 6 a.m. So that means I was basically booked to be there till almost 8 p.m. or something like that, so they could use any amount of that time. But I had been on set since 11 a.m. So I got off a set around 6:30, got to my hotel around 9 o'clock, and by the time I got in Coachella, it was around 10:30-ish. And I got to see SZA, and the weekend was after SZA, but I'm not a big Weeknd fan, so I just fell asleep in the grass. Well, I like the Weeknd's music, but he can't perform live. And I'm sorry if this offends you, but oh well. So that was kind of day one, but we were so angry because when we got there, we were so excited because we just thought, damn, we have VIP. We'll just go to the front with where the gate thing is, and even if we were in the back of VIP, it still would have been like the front, and it still would have went good. So we get to there, and the guy was like,
no, like artist wristbands only this year.
And we were like, what? And he's like,
artist wristbands only.
And we're like, just for this stage or for like all the stages? And he's like,
all the stages.
We were pissed. I don't drink beer. I didn't want to like stand in a VIP garden while Coachella's going on all day. So I was like, damn. Well, I was pissed that I got VIP, and I was like, I'm never going VIP again. So I told Patrick, I was like, unless I'm artist next year, I'm never going to Coachella again, because like that was crazy that they did that. But anyways, on to the next. So that was Friday. Friday was kind of over, whatever. So Saturday, we get ready, we go. Mind you, our hotel, we couldn't find like a hotel anywhere, and we had booked early. So we had to book in Palm Springs, which is almost like 45 minutes out from Indio. So we were like technically far away from Coachella, whereas previous years we had always booked a hotel right next to Coachella. So we were never more than like 20 minutes away, I'd want to say. So we get ready, we get to the bus, we get to Coachella, and I passed the first entrance, that was fine. Then I got into the next one and it scanned red, but I had already gone through all the other entrances, and the guy was like,
whatever.
And he just let me in. After that, we got inside, and once you're in the VIP area, you have to scan in and out of VIP. So later, I had scanned out and it was fine, and we went about Coachella, did our thing. It was a great time, but then when I tried to scan back in VIP areas, it was turning red, but no one was really saying anything because it was still like a VIP wrist bracelet. So like the security would look at it and they'd be like,
whatever, go inside.
So that's like, on this story, this is strike one for Coachella, where they had up security. Like if there was a problem with my wristband, security should have made me go get it taken care of right there and then when it turned red. Like I shouldn't have gone all weekend to like the point of where this story is leading to. Then we get to Sunday. Coachella has had a tradition of having more hardcore checks on Sunday. Like literally the security there is so lax, but then you go there on Sunday and all of a sudden they turn into the Coachella Nazis. And it's like, why? It's Sunday. We're having a good time. Leave us alone. Like if you wanted to bust it on Friday or Saturday. Like is there some quota they're trying to meet? Anyways, so we get to Sunday. Sunday, we wait for the bus, and the line was like unusually longer than usual, and it took about an hour longer than we thought it would be. So by the time we got there, it was like 4 or 5 o'clock, and we were like kind of over it, and we were ready to go. So we go through the VIP entrance, my bracelet scanned in, I was fine. Then we go through another security checkpoint where like they're supposed to go through your bags and stuff, and Patrick's band turns green and my band turns red, and the guy was like,
oh, sometimes that happens, like your bracelet will like
it was something really dumb. He's like,
basically like your transaction mitter or whatever won't work, and you just basically need to go get a new bracelet. To just cut it off, replace it.
So I was like, okay, great, we'll go in. Sunday was the day I was looking most forward to because my favorite artist, Princess Nokia, was playing that day, and that was one of the main reasons I had gone to Coachella to see her. So we were borderlining like kind of close to her set time, and I really wanted to get there like an hour and a half early to make sure that I was in front. So we do that. So the guy's
like, you need to go over to that booth in the artist wristband section and tell them what happened, and they'll replace your bracelet.
And I was like, okay, great. So then I go to the artist wristband section, and you have to scan in and out of that. And I scanned in, and it was green. So I was like, what the hell? So I go up to the booth, and I tell the guy, I was like, hey, look, the guy told me basically I need to get a new wristband because this one isn't activating, but I just scanned in green at the other stand. And the guy's like,
oh, cool, that's interesting. He's like, can I get your ID and the credit card that you purchased the bracelet with?
And I was like, sorry, I got this from like a third party. I don't have that, but I am registered. My name and information is registered to the bracelet on the app. And the guy, first thing he looks at me, he's like,
I'm gonna have to cut off your wristband.
and I was like, excuse me. I literally pulled my wrist away so fast. Like, what? Tell me that one more time. You have to do what? So he literally was like,
I have to cut off your wristband.
and I was like, no, nope, no. Literally, like, looked at him and said no like 13 times. I was like, not happening today. So then I was like, what's wrong with it? So the guy looks up the number on that was attached to the bracelet, looks at the account information, and he is like,
Your wristband's canceled.
and I was like, what? And he's like,
Your wristband is canceled. Whoever the original owner is of the wristband canceled your wristband.
and I was like, what the f? So at this time, I went to the girl's Instagram who had sold me that ticket, and I took a screenshot, and it showed that she was there on Coachella day 1 and 2. So I took a screenshot of her Instagram because, you know, in case this had to go anywhere, I wanted to have proof that this bitch was at Coachella. So basically, I was like, what if I can contact the seller and get her here? Like, would you guys replace the bracelet? And he was like,
I don't know, we have to see what the situation is, and the girl has to get here with her ID and the original credit card that she paid with for the thing.
so at this point, like, I'm literally like in tears, like literal tears. January, February, March, April. So it had been a little like about 3 months since my mom had passed away. And I really wanted this time at Coachella to really be like a fun, free space for me to like kind of be out of all the grief I had been in. And so I just automatically started crying because I was so upset. I wasn't even there on Friday. Saturday was cool, but like I was always stopped at areas that I tried to check in. And that was, you know, it was still a day that I had spent there. But like Sunday, the most artists that I had been dying to see, I now couldn't see because of this situation. I was so upset that I basically had, I had a panic attack. I frequent panic and anxiety attacks, so I basically knew what it was coming on. And if this was the booth and there was a gate here and a gate here, I was literally sitting in the corner, like couldn't even breathe, like was holding on to like the wall because I just couldn't even fathom this. I had paid like I paid $1,000 to be there, and I couldn't believe I was being ripped off. Meanwhile, I'm having an anxiety attack, and Patrick keeps trying to call me because they wouldn't let him come in the area because nothing was wrong with his bracelet. So finally, he goes up to security, and he's like, hey, that's my friend having a panic attack in the corner. Can I go see her? And I'm clearly like, this isn't like subtle. Like, I'm like, like loud as fuck, like literally like fucking dying. And security was like,
Fine, yes, I guess, you can go.
so security lets Patrick in, and I tell Patrick, I can't even tell Patrick. I'm like, they want to cut off my wristband. So he goes up to the guy, and the guy was like,
It says her pass has been deactivated since Friday, and he was like, we don't even know how she's been getting in and out of Coachella. I don't even know how she's been able to access anything. Like, she should have been like technically like kicked out on Friday.
so I was literally fucking livid, and I texted the girl, and I was like, bitch, like, I'm gonna sue you, like, I will literally take you down, like, you need to get your ass to this fucking booth, or I will literally take you down. So the girl replies, and she's like,
My husband's gonna come meet you. He'll be right there.
so meanwhile, I'm having my panic attack, and this girl comes up to me, and she's like, hi, like, do you want to like move over here, like, are you sure? And I thought this girl was just like some random girl, and I don't want to talk to some random girl while I'm having a panic attack. And I'm like, no, I'm fine, I don't want to move. And she's like, are you sure? I'm like, yes. So like I like having my panic attack still. Like, we are now like 25 minutes into me like full blown having a panic attack. Patrick's trying to look for my inhaler in my backpack. We couldn't find it. We were looking for water. Like, I wanted to go to a bathroom. They wouldn't let me go to one. It was like literally crazy. So then finally the girl comes back out, and she's like, hey,
I like work for Coachella.
which she should have started with the first time. And she's like,
We're gonna get security to move you if you don't move.
mind you guys, she literally wanted me to move 2 feet. Like, just literally, she just wanted me to move to a different corner. And she brought 3, like 6'5" huge security guys to come manhandle me. I'm like, bitch, really? Like, Coachella, really? I'm having a panic attack and you sent 3 security guards to come touch and manhandle me? You really thought that you should touch and manhandle a girl having a panic attack? Like, you really thought that was the brightest idea out of all your fucking bright ideas for Coachella? Well, let me tell you, like, you guys are fucking sucking harder and harder and harder every fucking year. So I finally moved because I really didn't want to be touched by 3 strange fucking men that I didn't know, and I moved over into a corner. Patrick's trying to solve the mystery with the guy, and all of a sudden, during the crying, the girl who had sold me the ticket, Mary, her boyfriend, we'll call him Joe comes up and he's like,
Hey, did you buy the ticket from Mary?
and I was like, yes. And he was like,
I'm her husband.
so Joe goes,
I'm gonna go up to the line guy and I'm gonna try to talk to him. Hopefully, because we have the same last name, he'll let me, change the thing around.
so he goes up to the booth and they said,
No, it has to be the original ticket purchaser,
which was his wife, Mary.
and it has to be her credit card with her name on it.
So he tells me that Mary isn't there yet and she's actually waiting to park, which if you've ever tried or if you know parking at Coachella, it's not good. About roughly an hour and a half later, Mary gets there. But meanwhile, the husband is sitting with me and he's like,
I don't know how this happened. Like, this is so crazy to me. Like, I just didn't know there was going to be a problem. This is our first year coming here.
and I'm just like, at this point, it's like someone's fault. It's either Coachella's fault or it's Mary and Joe's fault. So while we were waiting for Mary to get there, they move us to the other side of the booth. And meanwhile, that is like artist wristband territory. And I'm still having a mental breakdown. Meanwhile, A$AP Rocky and Amber Rose walk past while I'm having this beautiful mental breakdown. 2 people I highly look up to and love and support. It was great just being a mess in front of them. I was thrilled. So then Mary gets there and Mary says,
Okay, let me show you. Here's my ID. Here's my credit card.
so the guy pulls up her account and says,
You only bought 2 wristbands. It shows that you only bought 2 wristbands.
and she goes, the whole time through this whole story, her story was that she had bought 3 wristbands. So they decided that they were going to cut off one of their wristbands and give it to me so that I could go in the park. I think it was Mary who cut off her wristband and gave me her wristband. And so from there, I did go into Coachella. That did happen, yes. But there was about 3 hours of panic attacks, crying, frustration, back and forth that I had to endure while waiting for her and this problem that had occurred because of her. So of course I wasn't just gonna let this go. Like, oh, I'm so happy you came and gave me your ticket. Like, nah. So of course the very next day I contacted my attorney and I told them about what happened. And we had contacted Coachella as well to understand from their account information and history what the real story was so that we could find out, was Coachella at fault or were Mary and Joe at fault? I get in touch with Mary and I text her and said, hey Mary, I had gotten in contact with my attorney so that we could figure out and get to the bottom of this so that I could get justice. I wanted my money back, of course. Like, that was some fucked up shit. If the ticket was really canceled since Friday, I was being set up so that I had given them money and wouldn't be able to go into Coachella all weekend long. So I told Mary that I had gotten in contact with my attorney and she never texted me back. Instead, I got a phone call from her husband, Joe, who claims she couldn't speak English anymore and that I could not talk to her anymore to further this whatever we had going on. So basically, from that point on, I dealt with Joe only because, like I said, Mary suddenly miraculously did not speak English anymore. So I was on the phone with Joe back and forth for almost 2 weeks between him and his story and me and my attorney. And basically what it came down to is Joe could not prove that he had purchased 3 tickets and was being very shady at the fact that there was like a third purchaser involved, and said now it was no longer her friend that was going to go with them, it was her cousin that was going to go with them, and said that there was something that had to do with him purchasing the ticket. But let's check the facts real quick, won't we? My wristband was registered and came up under the name of Mary and her credit card. My wristband was registered to that. Her and her husband's wristbands were matched to her name. So these wristbands were under her name, but mine was deactivated, and Coachella had only proof of 2 wristbands. So strike 1 against Mary and Joe. They had no proof that there was a third wristband ever. And their story of number 2, we get to evidence number 2, they said that this was now their cousin's wristband that they had given me. If you go on the website of Coachella, and the rules of this have been the same for Coachella since the beginning of Coachella and since I had been going for over like 7 or 8 years, you cannot transfer your ticket. You can't give it to your brother, your cousin, your sister, your best friend, your worst enemy, no one. You are not allowed to transfer that ticket. It can never go in anyone else's name or credit card. So them telling me that there was a problem because it was someone else's ticket, whether they were related to them or not, was a false lie, because that is impossible with Coachella. Strike 2 against them. Strike 3. Joe could not keep his story straight. The story kept changing of how they got the ticket, when they got the ticket, why they sold the ticket, and it was going way back and forth. So finally, I told them I had countered with half the price of the ticket at, I think my counter offer was, I told them basically they didn't have to give me the full day back because I did get in there on Sunday, or not Sunday, that I did get there Saturday. I wanted half my ticket back for the problems that I had encountered Saturday and all the anxiety and crying and like honestly like trauma that I had went through on Sunday. And the guy, basically the half of that would have been like $475. The guy countered me at $250, and I was like, you have me up. Okay, $250, that's not even worth the whole day. And so I basically came at him and I just said, where's the proof? I asked him, show me a bank statement that with the money. So it would have showed like 3 tickets and Indio Valley on it. They couldn't do that. I was like, show me your account that you purchased the tickets on, and it will show the tickets that you purchased on. They kept telling me that they felt uncomfortable with that was weird and strange, and that's not weird or strange to clear your name. Like, you are in big trouble here. My last counter offer was around $375, like $350, something like that. And basically they accepted, and we did come to the agreement on that. But the next step would have taken them to small claims court, and they claimed that they were very private people and that they didn't really want to do that. And so to spare themselves money, and they said they couldn't afford things, everything was so shady about their story. So we finally got a legal agreement drew up between us, and me and Joe met up instead of me and Mary, who originally met up, signed a contract, and he gave me the money that we agreed back. That's basically like the story all in all. And then Joe tried to make small talk with me after the deal was over, and I was so literally like so blown away that he could have done this to me and then tried to be nice to me. Like, you. I don't like you, and I will never like you. At the end of the day, we all know the truth here is they scammed me, and whether or not it turned out in my favor and I got money back, they still got to keep almost $600. They profited off of me $600. And after going back with my attorney back and forth and Mary and Joe back and forth, yes, we did settle because that was the easiest and most ethical and law-abiding thing to do. after we looked over all the stipulations and rules and laws and all of that. So I'm still not happy with the results. I mean, I'm glad I got some of the money back, but I got scammed and I'm really pissed still about it. I hope Mary and Joe see this video and feel like a piece of shit because, you know, that was some really shit to do and you caused a lot of like havoc and trauma for me. Like to me, not only was it about like being locked out of Coachella, but it was about like my mom for me. I was more upset. And I was really upset because that morning I had found out one of my really close friends had died. And so not only was I experiencing the trauma of my mother, but I had then experienced the loss of a friend that morning. And I really just wanted to escape with my favorite artists. And I wasn't able to do that because of them. And so to me, I honestly just wanted justice for all the anxiety and panic and horrible things that I had to feel and endure for those 3 hours. And I'm glad that they got their money and that they're happy and they're living their lives now. And I know karma will take care of them. But I just, you know, I thought I'd share with you guys the up shit that happened. That is the story and that is what happened. That is my how I got scammed horror story at Coachella. I will not be attending Coachella next year if I am not artist wristband. I will never purchase third party again for any festival ever. Lesson learned. My moral of the story for you guys is don't buy third party. Keep track of your evidence. Know who you're buying from. Know who you're working with. Just pay the price of the regular ticket. Try to get the ticket on time. Whatever you guys have to do. I just want to say shame on Coachella for how they handled the situation. Mary and Joe. And I'm going to have a blast one day at Coachella when I'm performing artists and Mary and Joe are still living their sad little lives. And I know that sounds super petty, but today I am the petty queen, okay? Anyways, that is the story. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below, what your favorite part was, even though it was a very sad story. Like, comment, subscribe, and I can't wait to see you guys for the next video, the next story time. And that is all the tea that I have for you guys today.